All right, y'all. Now that I am postpartum, it has been so different the last few weeks. It's been insane going from a family of 5 to a family of 6, which you would think I have a handle on this, and I do for the most part, but it's a lot of juggling, y'all. Especially when I'm putting them to bed if the hubby's not here. Like, whoa, Bubba, I need to hold him or put him in his own bed, or it never fails. When I'm ready to eat or when I'm ready to put the girls to bed, he gets fussy. So, yes. Now that we're looking back, I can tell you my labor and delivery story. So I know those are always amazing to hear. So we went into this with a plan of doing this epidural free, all natural if possible. And so we tried to stick to that as much as possible. Bubba decided that he did not feel like coming out at all. I was not in active labor whatsoever, and he was already 11 days past when they said he was going to be due. So, which is the latest that any of my babies have been. All of my babies have been late. Again, 11 days past due. So I was a little nervous about that. So I asked them to go ahead and schedule me for induction. And so we went in at 6 a.m. on the 1st of June. And at 8, they started me on Pitocin. And even though I was not in labor whatsoever, before that, we had baby boy by 2, and I requested that they start me at the minimum, like the lowest dosage, which I think they said was like a 2 or 0.2 or something like that. So they started me at the lowest dosage so that my body could adjust to it, and that was totally fine. Next time I will know. I'll just let baby come when baby's ready. Because the experience was just so different than all my others, because I didn't have to be induced for any of my other babies. So my water broke differently with this one than it has for my other 3 births. And so it was different. So anyways, went in at 6, started Pitocin at 8 a.m., had baby right after 2 p.m. So active labor, I only had an active labor for about 6 hours, which is incredible, considering I was not in labor at all. And we stuck to the no epidural. I had I had my husband there, so awesome birth support. Something that we did this time that we did not do before is he helped out with counter pressure on my lower back. Every single time I had a contraction, he would push against my back, which, yes, every time for the last 2 hours, he was a trooper. But yeah, he applied counter pressure, and it was so soothing. Oh my goodness. I didn't want him touching my face or really close to my face or my upper body at all. But that pressure down on my back was awesome. We also had essential oils going, a relaxing blend for our diffuser. That set the mood in the room. Super helpful there as well. You didn't have all the clinical smells that you usually have in a hospital. We also had calming music during everything that was leading up to actual birth. We had Christian worship going. We had already picked an artist that we wanted to play. And so, yeah, nothing crazy passionate or loud or fast or anything like that. Just calm in the background. And then, so those were all of everything we had in our plan to do. We had a lot more planned to do, and they just went out the window. So with all the YouTube videos and how they tell you to breathe, all the doulas and stuff, they tell you to breathe baby out. Okay, sweetheart, you cannot just breathe baby out. You must also push. Body pushes. Yes, the body naturally pushes, but you also have to push yourself. You cannot just breathe a baby out. Sorry. For all the videos I watched, that is what they kept saying. And so I was anticipating that without an epidural, and that is not how it went. You got a stinking push, y'all. So, anyways, moving on. So when I was at around a 5, I felt like it was never going to end, even though it really was a short active labor. I felt like it was never going to end. So I asked them, hey, is there any way that you can put a muscle relaxer in my IV to like help baby engage? I didn't feel like there was any movement there whatsoever. Baby was moving, but like no shift downwards. I didn't feel that at all. And so I asked them, just a muscle relaxer to help me calm down because my body was just spazzing out because of the Pitocin. And she did that. And about 15 minutes later, Micah engaged, like dropped, and it just felt like it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was having a really hard time talking. And when I could breathe again after that jolt, I told my husband, like, get the nurses and the doctors and the midwife, whatever, get them in here. Because I couldn't even, like, reach my call button because of how intense that it felt whenever he engaged. But because of how soon after they had given me the muscle relaxer, he engaged and he was ready to come out. The medicine it affected me really badly and made me super loopy and relaxed the muscles that you normally push with. They did not expect baby to engage that quickly. They thought they had given it to me in enough time before I was going to have him. That was not the case at all. And it did not feel as though my brain was connecting to the rest of my body. And so, again, I was super loopy. The things I was saying did not make sense whatsoever in the moment. It made sense to me, not to the nurses and my husband. And they were like, oh, crap. Especially whenever they're telling me, like, you need to push. And I'm like, I am pushing. Yeah. So, they kept telling me that his heart rate was dropping every single time I was having a contraction. And so they kept telling me, like, Mama, you need to push. And again, like I said, I thought I was pushing. Apparently I was not. I couldn't get my brain to connect to the rest of my body because of that muscle relaxer. Super stupid decision. I should have just stuck to my plan of no anything. We'll get to that later. So I found out later that his heart rate kept dropping every time I had a contraction because his umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck once and the rest of it was wrapped around his body twice. And they have a name for it. I don't know if it's like a nuchal or something like that. If that's totally, I don't know where I got that word. I think that's what it was called. Otherwise, that was just a weird word. But, so like I said, I couldn't push anymore. Like I had nothing left in me. I thought I had been pushing that entire time. I had no energy. And so I just in one final effort, I just yelled out to God, like, God help me. Like, there is no way that I could do this unless you physically help me push. And so that is exactly what God did. And he was able to give me the energy to push baby out one last time and get him out of danger. And so I knew something was wrong other than the fact that they had told me his heart rate kept dropping. Because in my loopiness, in the glimpses that I saw of my husband and the midwives and all of that, the look on my husband's face was very distressed and emotional. And he hadn't been that way in my other births because he's been there for all of them. He usually looks in awe and excited and all the new dad things. And this time he just looked really concerned and emotional. And so I knew something was up, but I was really out of it. And so when they put baby on my chest, I didn't even realize he was there for probably the first 30 seconds. And then I looked down and he's totally purple and there's no crying or anything. And so I have 3 or 4 ladies around me, and they're rubbing on him and suctioning him, and one of them's pumping his lungs with their hand and trying to be, not obvious that something is wrong. And eventually they got him suctioned out and got him breathing, and everything was good. And I heard my babies cry for the first time, and it was incredible. And as intense and really painful as it was an amazing experience. So, with that being said, he is beautiful. He is healthy. He is finally here. And I have maybe three takeaways from that I would do differently next time we have a baby. Because no, we are not done. We believe that babies are a blessing from God, and we are not going to limit God on how many babies we have. We are going to use wisdom on trying to wait between kiddos, but we're not going to limit him. So, the 2 to 4 things that I will do differently next time is just let baby come when baby is ready. Not do Pitocin. Try not to induce if possible, unless it is for the safety of me or the baby. The other thing I would not do is the muscle relaxer. Absolutely no. Even if baby is not engaging right away, I am not going to stoop to doing that again, because the midwife came in like an hour or 2 later and she was like, "Are you in your right mind again?" Oh, goodness. Yes. I had to apologize, like how embarrassing it was, I'm sure, for the things that I said when I was on that. Anyway, so those are the 2 things that I would change or not do next time. And then the one thing that I did this time that I would do next time is I kept a journal from a few days before I had him, and then a few days after I had him. All the things that happened during that time, that I questioned during that time, like, is this normal? Things I just wanted to remember for future pregnancies and births, so that I don't have to constantly question or wonder, like, is this normal? Is this something to worry about? Like, all the things. Because believe it or not, even though I've had 4 babies, I did not remember from baby to baby. And next time I want to be able to. So I kept the journal for that purpose. So that is something I would do again. Okay.